The Maine approach to elder care that we've pioneered over the last 5 or 6 years really began when my journey in healthcare began. I've been a family doctor for about 25 years and always have had a special affection for the older individuals that were my patients. I got to know them very, very well, probably better than my own family, over many years of office visits and hospitalizations and dealing with big and small crises in their lives with them. So they became a part of my extended family. And I really wanted to find a way to champion the wisdom and experience that they brought to the table and that I felt that most other individuals didn't have the opportunity to see. So that was a real positive that I wanted to try to emphasize. And a second piece is I found these very proud individuals trying harder and harder to stay in their own homes. They were downsizing within their own house, closing off more and more rooms, having more and more difficulties doing the everyday things that allowed them to stay there, or that would allow them to stay there. So I really wanted to impact that and give them some options. So that journey led about 15 years ago to forming with a couple of other pioneers in this town an elder care network that was intended to expand housing options for frail elders with limited financial means. We tried a number of house matching situations and eventually led to focusing primarily on home-like assisted living. And that was a real good step in the right direction, but the holy grail has always been how do you enable frail elders to stay in their own homes. So that led to jumping off the cliff and forming this private enterprise to figure out how you would combine technology, neighbors, good old-fashioned neighborliness, volunteers, and needed personal care and professionals into a model that would allow elders to stay in their own homes. And that journey over the last 5 years has taken us to this point where we have figured out a way by targeting personal care around remote monitoring to keep frail elders between ages 80 and 105 in their own homes for several years, no matter how many mental or physical impairments they have, at just a fraction of the cost of the other alternatives. We've been able to do this sometimes for as cheap as $500 or $600 a month when the assisted living and nursing home care has been $5,000 or $10,000 a month. Even though we've emphasized attitude and a new look at the way people are involved in this network, technology is a tool that we must embrace to accomplish things in an affordable fashion. I want to show you some of the technologies that we employ. These are readily available technologies that we have molded to our specific purposes. Many people have used a webcam to make a video call. What we're actually doing is using the webcams and a specific proprietary interface to be able to monitor individuals in their own homes. Monitoring sounds very clinical, and what I really want to show you is how personal these things are. These are 3 webcams that we have in my dad's home, shown on the screen here. And as you can see, bringing me right into his kitchen, I can see whether the dishes have been done or not. I can see whether the newspaper and the mail are on the kitchen table. This is the path that he uses to go from his living room into the bathroom or bedroom. So I'm not actually spying on him as much as I am trying to be involved with helping him stay in his own home. He prefers to be there compared to anywhere else in the world, and when we regularly ask him if he would like to move in with one of us or move into a residential care facility, he emphatically says he wants to stay right where he is. So these tools are ways of helping him accomplish what he wants to. So that one camera in the corner of his kitchen provides me with about 75% of his traffic pattern. What we've found is if we put cameras in your common space, this is not an intrusion into your private parts of your home. These are the places in your house where you would entertain family, where you would entertain visitors who knock on the front door, where you would entertain salespeople that come to your house. So we can see, though, by putting these webcams in your common space, this is the regular traffic pattern that most individuals travel through the course of their day. Sandra was thinking of quitting because she was worried about you. You know, I think it gave her a great deal of peace of mind to know that you would be okay here as long as your son and us at the office could all check in once in a while with you. We've also gone on to use other technologies that we have modified for our specific purposes. This is a small emergency response button called a Freedom Alert button. It has a couple of advantages over other devices in that the microphone and the speaker are on the device. The second thing is that it's small enough so I can wear it on my wrist or on my belt or around my neck. And actually, I don't even have to get up out of my chair to answer the phone. I can actually just respond by pressing this button, and it works as a remote telephone. The video monitoring that we do of elders in their own homes involves not only archive snapshots that are motion driven, but also you can access live video. This is actually a live video shot as we speak of my dad in his living room. Over in the lounge chair in the corner here, you can see his body and his head, and if we watch that long enough, he just moved his hand up to his hair, and he is just changing his position. His TV is in the corner here, and if I want to reposition that light, I can actually see what he's watching on TV. But the whole point of this is really just to bring me into his living room and give me the reassurance that he is okay.
With the graying of America, healthcare as we know it has got to change. We can't afford it anymore. And the Maine Approach takes a large step in looking at that change and offering some possibilities that make great sense. Our population is aging quicker than we can build beds to take care of them. I don't see the Maine Approach as threatening to hospitals or long-term care facilities. One hospital I was involved with had a 68-bed skilled nursing facility, and the Maine Approach would be very complementary to what they were doing. Currently, I'm involved with 7 residential care facilities located in one county and 68 residents total in those facilities, and certainly the Maine Approach would be very complementary to what we're doing in residential care.
When we came back to Damariscotta, Dr. Teel became our personal physician, and he, when he started this, I had this first vision, he came to us to be in the pilot program. Well, of course, like a lot of old people, we didn't think we were old enough to be in his pilot program, but we were willing to help him out in many different ways. So I offered to, first I was doing book reviews and so forth for their programming, and then I realized that Carol Richards could use some help.
The men and women that we employ are encouraged to be a part of people's lives, the members' lives, in any way, shape, or form. They're encouraged to give a little bit of themselves so they can get the elderly person to give a little bit of themselves. And I think that's what you have to do. You have to give a little to get a little back. Them being a part of the members' lives is paramount to getting them to be confident in their own homes, to be able to go out and do things they want to do, to be able to be part of the community again, because they feel like they have a friend, they have a confidant, they have an advocate.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Well, look who's here. Mr. Root Beer and Chocolate Cake.
Yeah.
I caught you with the goodies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sit up, Chip, or you?
Yeah, I'm going to sit down and join you for a minute. This is a friend of ours, Charles, who has a license plate that says Geezer.
Yes.
And I don't know where he gets that from, but anyway, he's been very important to my dad and me because he takes them out to great places like Fernals.
I volunteer 3 days a week, and then on the days that I'm off, I transport clients around to doctors and grocery shopping and whatever else they want to do. And for a while we were first responders for a client of ours in the neighborhood, and I would check on her every morning before I came to work. And as this plan is supposed to do, we stayed with her until she passed away, and it was really a very truly success story that we were able to do that for her.
This has been a labor of love. It has been complicated. It has required a whole lot of participation from a lot of people to figure out the pieces of the puzzle. But even though there have been a lot of pieces to the puzzle, what we're trying to do is really quite simple. It is trying to build a model around the goals and aspirations of the older individuals themselves. When was the last time that most 85, 90, 95-year-olds were asked, what do you want to do with the rest of your life? When was the last time that many folks in that age group were asked, what gives your life meaning and purpose, and how can we help put meaning and purpose back in your life if you've lost it? So really, it's pretty simple. We ask our older individuals what it is they want out of the rest of their lives, and then we try to help them deliver that. And this is an awful lot of elder empowerment. We call it empowered aging. It is encouraging elders to have meaning and purpose. It is about trying to reestablish a balance between the all too conventional, heavy-handed medical approach to the rest of your life, to reconnecting with family, friends, personal interests, community in a way that is much more robust, in a way that is much more self-affirming, and in a way that gives individuals much more power over their own lives, and by extension makes them healthier and more independent.
A couple months ago, a buddy of mine gave me the book Alone and Invisible and said, you got to read it. So, and then pass it on, which I thought was a good idea. So I read it, and it gave me such hope, you know, because I think aging is such a depressing project. So I'm thinking, oh my God, this was wonderful. The idea of being able to stay in your own home, and all the things that I read about in the book about the people that I know who you're working with. And so I said, but the only thing it really depends on is volunteerism. Otherwise, the costs go skyrocketing. So I figured, well, I got to do my part. So then I came down here and talked to, I think it was Marie, and Marie said, well, we actually have an older man who really needs a ride home from Cribbage every Wednesday, Thursday night. And I said, sign me up.
What we do is create an environment for them so that they're happy. They lose their happiness. You get older, you can't do the things that you'd like to do. You can't go outside as much as you like to. You can't work in your garden. With a companion being there with them, it does give them a sense of well-being that they can do these things with somebody else there with them, without that person taking that skill away from them.
The thing that we have needed to do is to address the cardinal issues that everybody says are the central issues facing elder care. One is cost. The second is unacceptable quality of life. And so we have to look at that from an individual's point of view as well as from institutions or government's point of view. And clearly cost is the easiest part to talk about. The current economic model of elder care is unsustainable for any individuals, any companies, any state or federal governments. When you have to spend $5,000 or $10,000 or $15,000 a month, which translates into $100,000 to $200,000 per individual per year, that means that for 10 people in any Northeast nursing home over the next decade, we will spend $10 million for their care. $1 million per person per decade to do it the way we're doing it. That may not really hit home until you either go shopping for it or until you multiply the numbers for what that means for your community. To give you an example, every community of 50,000 people will require 3 times as many nursing home beds and 10 times as many assisted living home beds in the next 20 years as what they have right now. The cost to do this will be $100 million of new construction to build and $50 million a year to run them. And if you translate that into the households that exist in every community of 50,000 people, that will translate into $5,000 per year per household of new expense to support such a model that most people don't want. The good news is that I think we're going to be able to keep both of you fully involved with the community things that you're so good at. Fortunately, we've had some pioneers who are not going to wait for government or somebody else to solve their problems. They have said, I want to stay in my own home. How can you help me do that? And if you put the technology in the context of helping you do what you want to do, if you put accepting some help from somebody else in the context of wanting to stay in your own home, begrudgingly, I think people accept the help in the same way that they begrudgingly accept technology. Most of us as individuals would rather deny that we're growing old, or would rather deny that we need any more help than we did a few years ago. And most of us, until we face a crisis, would rather put off making any decision about doing something differently. That's where we've kind of created this secret sauce, and that is that if I can entice you to give back to your community, if I can entice you into truly believing again that you have something meaningful to give to your neighbor and to something else, and that we really appreciate what it is you have to contribute, and we would like to engage you in contributing to community, then I can get you perhaps more interested rather than focusing on your own limitations. So that has led to a primary focus on getting the elders themselves involved in being part of the solution. If we're trying to engage taking care of a gray tsunami of 25% of our population being over 65 within the next decade, then we have to find a way to meet those folks' needs. And if meeting those folks' needs can be broken down more simply into how do we engage them in living, and which members of our community and which members of that cohort can help each other become more engaged in living, then we've got an entirely different problem, and we can resolve that with the manpower and womanpower that we have in that cohort. What we have to do is figure out a way to individualize the ways to meet the goals and aspirations, and we have to individualize the tasks that needs doing and parcel those tasks out in bite-sized pieces that everybody can participate.
Well, the gentleman I take to cribbage is named Ed Werler, and there's an added bonus there because he wrote a book. So I read the book, and it was all about his experiences moving to Maine in 1947 and working as a guide in the Maine woods. So I got to know him even before he got to know me. So that was really good. So the first couple of times when I took him home from cribbage, we'd sit and have chats about books that he's read, books that I've read, his experiences up in the Maine woods. I know the family that he's connected with down here, so we talked a lot about that. It was really heartening to see this guy, or hear this guy, engage so much in the conversations.
We've been able to say, we would like you to contribute in some small way to the care of somebody else. So this is a very personal model. It is based on the talents of the elder cohort themselves. The technology allows us to connect the dots between talented individuals that live at home. So this isn't just a one-way street where we are remotely monitoring elders. We are saying, how can you reach out to your neighbor? How can we encourage other people that are your neighbors to reach out? And how do we put this all together into a network of people joined by technology to make sure that everybody knows what everybody else is doing? That may sound really complicated, but I would challenge you that if Match.com or eHarmony can find you a partner for life, we ought to be able to find somebody who can take me to the movies once a month. You know, that is not a really big stretch for a computerized database. We're also using a number of other devices, from temperature sensors to motion sensors to water sensors to power switches that we can operate remotely to help an individual either turn on a microwave or make sure that they're not using it ill-advisedly. But all of these devices are intended to enable someone to remain independent in their own home. But it isn't all passive monitoring. Some of it is also to engage people in fun. This is a standalone Skype phone that has a touch screen, and it is so easy to use that all you have to do is find the icon or the image of the person you want to talk to and press that icon, and it will generate a live video call to that person anywhere on the planet. So with this device, with multi-party video conferencing, we can connect individuals to other family members no matter where they live, grandchildren. We can actually connect them to book groups, coffee clatches, sewing circles, quilting bees, as well as make them an active participant in any sort of family or community conference about a specific topic. Well, you guys have epitomized exactly how this is supposed to be done because the whole family is very involved, and all we are doing is providing a few tools to support what the family is already doing.
Right.
And then Sandra plays another huge role in that she gives back a ton of her time. If we need somebody to be picked up and driven to a music rehearsal or out to a play or a movie or a sporting event, she's ready to go. So we've got great plans for her in her retirement that we're going to keep her just as busy doing all sorts of things. What I've found in the healthcare world is that there are an unlimited number of individuals who really desire to be more active caregivers, stronger advocates, to have the heart and soul that drove them into healthcare in the first place be accepted and an integral part of a healthcare solution. And I think whether it is family doctors, other primary care physicians, whether it is nurses that may work in residential care facilities or in home health agencies or in any other part of the healthcare system, whether there are mature social service organizations, whether there are religious organizations and church groups that are seeking more active community outreach, there are any number of collaborators that are willing to step forward and participate in a better solution to the current elder care model if you will give them an opportunity to participate, if you will provide for them a turnkey solution that they can provide the heart and the knowledge of their own community to bring needy folks together into a network. So our goal is to reproduce this model in 10,000 communities across the United States in the next decade. And we have already, through word of mouth, been able to reach a number of other communities who are interested, and now our task is to fully develop this model in a way that is that turnkey operation. We're well on the way to operationalizing what we've done in Maine in the last 4 to 5 years.
Part of the complementary aspect of our system of residential care in this community, which fits well with the Maine approach, is that we offer adult daycare and have several people who spend 2 to 3 up to 8 hours a day with us, but then go home with their family at night. A couple of those people have ended up being residents of ours in our residential care facility because they've gotten beyond the point where their families can safely take care of them at home. But we offer other things in our residential care facility that we share in terms of meals, activities, things going on at our facilities, not only at the facility but outside. We took a group the other day, some from the Maine Approach families and some from our residential care facilities, to hear the opera at the local theater. So there are a number of things that we can do in this continuum of care.
I absolutely love my job. I wake up every day and visit with somebody else, and each and every person that I visit with is so completely and totally different. And it ranges anywhere from going down and simply visiting and talking with them, or helping out with some chores, or helping get ready for the day, or we go for ice cream, or we'll go for a walk. I help out with the gardening, and I get to hear stories, and you get to reconnect with people that feel as though they've lost connection with a lot of people.
The reluctance of adult children to be able to look at this from the same vantage point as their parents has been a big obstacle we've had to overcome. I think many adult children find it a neater, cleaner solution to move mom or dad into a residential care facility where somebody else will do all of the thinking and planning and sorting out. I think they're not really understanding the depth with which elders want to hold on to their independence, with which they dread moving into a residential care facility. And it's not because the care isn't heartfelt there. It is just that very often they are giving up a great deal of their independence, and that's something they want to hold on to as much as possible. So I would challenge the adult children to look at it again. Yes, this is not as neat and clean. There are going to be changes in status week after week, month after month, year after year. But honestly, even if your parent lives in a residential care facility, they will also be facing changes in status and regular crises that will accompany that location of residence as well. You can't have a conversation about these issues without getting into a couple of thorny issues. One is this whole approach an invasion of privacy? And I have regularly argued that the biggest invasion of your privacy is having to move into a double room in a residential care facility with a complete stranger, share half a bath, half a closet, half a bureau with somebody that you don't know, where that individual changes on a regular basis. You have no choice on who that individual is, and the caregivers that come and go 24/7 may be new people or old people that you have never met before. So an invasion of privacy is not what this is. As a general rule, most of the elders, once they start to see what we see on the cameras, they are very grateful that there is somebody looking out for them. They figure that we are angels to them that are just paying attention to what is going on in their lives, and we're a backup who is there when they need us. We are combining the best of both worlds. We are regularly available, and yet we actually are not intruding because we are not in their home except when they need us to be. One of the other key elements that must be addressed is what I'm calling the dignity of risk. That is the liability issues that go with elders staying in their own home. Is this safe? Is this acceptable according to doctors and lawyers? In order to be a fully functioning member of community, you need the opportunity to succeed or fail. And if you don't give somebody the opportunity to either succeed or fail, you are depriving them of the opportunity to grow as an individual. And I would challenge us all to look at our own lives and look at what we've learned from our successes and our failures, and whether we're only going to adopt a model if there's a guaranteed smooth sailing for everybody 100% of the time from now until their death. Most elders are very willing to accept risk. As a matter of fact, many of them feel like they're living on bonus time as we speak. And so if you give them an opportunity to have a brighter, more hopeful day, they'll take that in a heartbeat.